Patrick's Day is here, but we're skipping the green beer today. We've got something better. 3 cocktails with Tullamore D.E.W rum cask finish. I've used bourbon cask finished rum before and I'm a big fan. But before we get into the drinks, let's talk about the difference between Irish whiskey and bourbon. Irish whiskey, like Tullamore D.E.W, is made primarily with barley, which gives it a lighter, more delicate character than bourbon. Bourbon has to be made from at least 51% corn, which makes it naturally sweeter and richer. It must be aged in new American charred oak barrels, which gives it those deep caramel and vanilla notes. I'll be honest, I prefer bourbon, so I'm hoping the Caribbean rum cask brings some more depth to this one. So this one is 43% alcohol, while this one's only 40%. I would like to kind of taste these side by side before I jump into the cocktails. They look very similar. Let's see how they are on the nose. So this one, it really doesn't smell like much to me other than a little ethanol. And then this one, I think I smell a little more of a sweetness to it. Maybe it's just my imagination. Maybe I should have done them blind, but let's taste them. I wouldn't totally turn my nose up at it, but like I said, it's not normally what I'd pick. I usually get a bottle of Irish whiskey every St. Patrick's Day to make a video, and I don't think about it after that. Now, the whiskey nerd, who is an expert on Irish whiskey, did a review on this one 3 years ago. Check that out if you want to know more about it, because now I'm going to jump into some cocktail recipes. So let's start out simple with a Tullamore D.E.W Old Fashioned. As usual, I'm going to start out with 2 ounces of the whiskey. We're going to build this in the mixing glass and strain it over our ice sphere. And I'm going to put in about a bar spoon of simple syrup. You can adjust this to your preferences when it comes to the level of sweetness you want. And then next I'm going to use these Jack's cardamom bitters. I was originally going to use Liqueur tiki bitters in this one, but Iceman Can't Cook actually sent me a little box of goodies and this was one of the things in it. I'm going to put in several drops of those. Now, one more. And because it's St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to use a green cherry. Now, you may be asking, what makes this a pot o' gold fashioned? We're going to put real gold flakes on it. Usually every year I just make something green, or I use that rainbow candy, but I just was really looking for something different this year. You can get 2 little vials of these on Amazon for about $7. It's completely edible. Just to give it that special touch like you found a treasure. So if you know me, you know that Mai Tai is one of my favorite drinks to riff on. I also love using whiskey and tiki cocktails, so I thought this would work out perfectly. So instead of using the usual blend of rums, I will use a whiskey that was finished in rum casks. So I'll put 2 ounces of that. I'm not going to split the base on this one. I'm going to put 3/4 ounce of lime juice. I will do 1/2 ounce of Orgeat. I'm using the Liber Co brand. And I'll put 1/2 ounce of Pierre Ferrand dry curacao. You can use an orange liqueur of your choice. And I'll do a few drops of my favorite Liqueur tiki bitters. Adding some pebble ice to my Mai Tai glass, and I'm also gonna shake it with some pebble ice. This one doesn't need too much shaking and you can just open pour it. And as usual with tiki drinks that I serve with pebble ice, I like to put a little more on the top. Instead of the traditional spent lime shell and mint sprig garnish, I'm gonna put a little shamrock I made from lime peels. So there's our Irish Mai Tai. So next up we have our spicy Gold Rush cocktail. The Gold Rush is basically a whiskey sour sweetened with honey. I sometimes add an egg white to mine, but the Gold Rush typically doesn't use one. I'm skipping it today and using gold flakes as a garnish instead, because they're cheaper than eggs. So I actually used the Wilton Dab and Hold edible adhesive to glue some of my gold flakes to a glass. I'm also going to use Trader Joe's hot honey syrup as the sweetener, just to spice it up. So this follows a pretty standard whiskey sour ratio. I'm going to put in 2 ounces of the Tullamore D.E.W, then 3/4 of an ounce of hot honey syrup. So what I did, just to make it a little easier to work with, I mixed the Trader Joe's spicy honey sauce with some hot water. I probably put about 2/3 honey sauce and then 1/3 water. It just makes it a lot easier to mix. And then we'll do 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. And just to stay with the spicy theme, I'm going to do 2 to 3 dashes of chili lime bitters. 1, 2, one more. So I'm going to give this one a shake. These are probably some of the coolest looking St. Patrick's Day cocktails I've made, but how do they taste? Let's start out with the Pot O' Gold Fashioned. And by the way, this gold is completely safe to drink, so I'm going to try to avoid it, but it'll be fine. It's probably the same stuff they put in Goldschlager back in the day, if you're old enough to remember that. That's definitely like a thinner old-fashioned than I'm used to. And it has been sitting for a few minutes, but it's really good, and I'm really glad I chose these bitters because I think they're bringing a lot to the party on this one. And the gold is kind of fun to look at through the completely clear ice. And of course the green cherry is fun. I would call that like a nice, like light old-fashioned. So next we have our Irish Mai Tai. I've done whiskey Mai Tais before. I'm a fan, so I should probably like this one. I think I would add like a funky rum or a cachaça or something just to give it a little more character. But perfectly drinkable, some would even say crushable. Now, our fanciest looking one is our Spicy Gold Rush. Kind of excited about the hot honey in this one. And if you get gold on your mouth drinking it, I mean, is that kind of a flex? Like, oh, I've got gold on my mouth again. That one is really good. I think that this whiskey did like need a little boost. And this stuff does not mess around when it comes to the spice level, especially for a honey. I had another one that I got at TJ Maxx that said it was hot honey, but I could barely taste any spice in it. So the Trader Joe's one, I recommend it if you like a little spice in your drinks. So which one of these is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe, and try not to get arrested this St. Patrick's Day. Cheers!